Hi, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at equations. A big part of Module 1 is equations. Then next video will be on some inequalities, and then the third video will be on some applications, which rounds off our Module 1. But today we're going to focus on the first part, and that's basically the equations. So let's take a look. I'm going to do a screen share here. So this is a document that should be in your news items. It deals with all the documentation for Module 1, so we're going to refer back to this often this next couple of weeks. So basically, there's a general strategy for solving equations. First, you simplify both sides by distributing and combining like terms. So you're going to have to know how to do that first. Okay? Remember, distributing, you multiply through the front number with everything in the parentheses. And combining like terms, you only combine things that are exactly alike variable-wise. Okay, including the exponent. Okay, we collect the variables on one side using the addition property. That's, in other words, adding the opposite to both sides. We move the non-variable terms to the other side by using the addition property on both sides. We make sure there's a 1 in front of the variable using the multiplication or division property. And of course, we check. So I give you several examples. And let's work through those examples on this PDF that also should be there for you. So I'm going to have to stop sharing for a second, and then I'm going to have to reshare. And I'll have to reshare that PDF file. There it is. And here we go. So our first problem is 5x minus 15 plus 5 equals 7. So we're going to combine the minus 15 and the 5. That gives us a minus 10. So we have 5x minus 10 equals 7. Using the addition property, add the opposite of minus 10 to both sides, which is positive 10, gives us 5x equals 17. Divide both sides by 5, and we get 17 over 5. For b, since there's this set of parentheses, we have to get rid of it, so we use the distributive property. So we'll take the 7 and multiply it with the m. The 7 multiplied with the minus 4 gives us, I'm sorry, it's a 2, not a 7, sorry. 2m and minus 4. And so 2m minus 8 gives us, or equals minus 4. Add 8 to both sides, and we get 2m equals 4. Divide by 2, and we get m equals 2. Now, to check this, we would put 2 in for m. So if I put 2 in for m and follow the order of operations, that'd be in the parentheses 2 minus 4. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. Then I multiply with the 2, and that gives us minus 4. Minus 4 equals minus 4. So the equation checks. Let's look at C. Lots of distributing here because we have two sets of parentheses. We have to distribute both times for both sets of parentheses to get rid of them. Distribute the 4. That gives us 4x minus 4 minus 2 on this left side. Distribute the 5. That gives us 10x plus 15 plus 6 on the right side. I'm going to combine the minus 4 and the minus 2. That gives me minus 6. I'm going to combine the 15 and 6. That gives us 21. So we end up with an equation of 4x minus 6 equals 10x plus 21. Now I'm going to use the addition property. Since x is on both sides, I use the addition property to get x to one side. So to do that, I'm going to decide to put x over here on the left side. I'll subtract 10x from both sides. Subtracting 10x from both sides gives us 4x minus 10, or minus 6. And I subtract 10x from 10x, I get nothing. And then also I have this minus 6 here on this side with the x. I have to move it to the other side because I want the non-x terms to be on the other side. So I add the opposite of minus 6, which is plus 6. 21 plus 6 gives us 27. Then we'll divide both sides by minus 6, giving us a 1 in front of x. And so that gives us x equals minus 27 over 6. 3 will go into both 27 and 6. 3 goes into 9 times. I'm sorry, 3 goes into 27 9 times, and 3 goes into 6 twice. So that gives us minus 9 over 2. This one, we have to distribute the 8. That gives us aq plus 8. We distribute the 3, which gives us 6q plus 9. I combine the 8 and the minus 5, giving me 8q plus 3 on the left side. I combine the 9 and the 6, giving us 6q plus 15 on the right side. I'll subtract 6q using the addition property to group my q's over here. 8q minus 6q is 2q. I'll move the 3 over here, away from the q. So I subtract 3 from both sides. 15 minus 3 gives us 12. We'll divide both sides by 2, and we get q equals 6. And again, we can plug 6 in for q and make sure left side equals right side. Excuse me. We have denominators present. We clear the denominators out. How do we do that? We multiply everything by the lowest common denominator. So in this first example, we have a 4, a 2, and an 8. So our lowest common denominator would be 8. So I multiply the 1/4 by 8. 1/4 times 8 is 8 over 4, or 2. So that gives us a 2x. That's where this comes from. I multiply the 1/2 by 8. 8 times 1/2 would be 8 over 2, which reduces to be 4. That's where this comes from. And then I multiply the 5/8 by 8. 5/8 times 8 is going to be 48. 40 divided by 8 is 5. That's where the 5 comes from. Once I clear the denominators, once I reduce things, I should get an equation with no fractions. So our next step in this equation with no fractions is to subtract 4 from both sides. When we do that, we get 2 equals 1. 2x rather equals 1. I'll divide both sides by 2 and get x equals 1/2. For f, I have 5 equals y over 2 plus 2y over 3 minus 3y over 4. The denominators are 2, 3, and 4. 5 has a denominator of 1. So my common denominator between 2, 3, and 4 is 12. So I multiply everything by 12, including the 5. Remember, what I do to one side of an equation, I have to do to the other side. If I do something to one thing, I have to do it to everything. Okay, so 12 times 5 gives us 60. Now over here, when I multiply the 12 with the y over 2, that'll give me 12y over 2, which reduces to be 6y. So that's where the 6y comes from. When I multiply the 12 with 2y over 3, 12 times 2y is 24y divided by 3. 24 divided by 3 reduces to be 8. So we get 8y here. And then last but not least, I multiply the minus 3/4 by 12. And that gives us minus 36 over 4. So minus 36 over 4 reduces to be minus 9. So we end up with a minus 9y here. I'll combine the 6y, the 8y, and the minus 9y together. When I do that, I get 5y, and on the other side, I still have the 60. I'll divide both sides by 5. 60 divided by 5 is 12, and it equals y. And then the last equation I want to take a look at today is the 2/3 times the quantity 3m minus 6 equals 5 minus m. Students get confused on problems like this because they don't know, should I clear out the fraction or should I distribute first? It doesn't matter in this case. Okay? If we note that there's one fraction here and it's outside a set of parentheses and the fraction is 2/3, I'm going to multiply that 2/3 by 3. In the process though, I also have to multiply this other side by 3. So when I multiply the 2/3 by 3, I get 6 over 3, or 2. I distribute the 2, and that gives us 6m minus 12. Over here, the 3 doesn't cancel with anything, so we distribute the 3, giving us 15 minus 3m. We'll add 3m to both sides. That gives us 9m. I'll add 12 to both sides. That gives us 27. I'll divide both sides by 9, and that gives us 27 over 9, or 3. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. We'll go over some inequalities and number line things next time. And then, like I said, the third video will be on equations. So take care. We'll see you next time.